Now, Trump, you know pretty well,
Very well.
and I know you like him as a person.
I do very much.
But you said that you wouldn't vote for him until he changes his stance on Mexico, or what is it that would prevent you from voting for him?
Well, first of all, I know he doesn't have a racist bone in his body.
Right, I think
Really?
the same thing.
And he does have New York values. Ted Cruz is right about that. And I've known him since the '70s. I've known him that long. And look what he did with the what they call that hotel, the Conrad, not the Conrad Hilton. They called it. Shoot, I forget the name, but anyway, it became the Grand Hyatt on 42nd Street. It was the Commodore. It became the Grand Hyatt. It was like a prostitutes, drug addicts, homeless.
So
people.
he ruined it by making it.
And he made it the Grand Hyatt. Sold it 20 years later. Made $143 million. Saved 42nd Street by doing it. He did the West Side. He did Wallman Skating Rink. He did the Ferry Point was a garbage dump in the Bronx. Now it's the best golf course in the city. He has the ability to be a great builder, and he has the ability to really reach out with the traditional Republicans and people who are moderates and so forth. I think you got to be crazy, though, to get the Republican nomination these days. You got to pick the most extreme position. You got to please the people in Iowa, especially Steve King, the congressman. So you got to say you're going to deport everybody that ever, had Mexican food.
Right.
I think it's so stupid. And I just want him to, now that he has the nomination, to be the person that I've known him to be for 40 years. I was with him on Apprentice. I did Apprentice. I was with him every day for 6 weeks last February. And I was with him as recently as this Sunday morning. And he's a very decent person. He's said some crazy stuff lately to get the nomination. Now he has the nomination. Now I want him to be a moderate guy, say, I'm not going to deport. If you've been here for 20 years, you've never committed a crime, you've been delivering pizza, you got a kid in 6th grade that's a citizen, I'm not going to spend my resources deporting you just because you're here without documentation, but I want you to register, get online, pay a fine, and so forth. I wanted to moderate those positions. If he does moderate those positions, I could definitely vote.
And so I asked Trump on the phone, name one thing that you like that Obama's done. Just one thing you think is good. And he wouldn't name anything.
He wouldn't?
And to me, that's the problem with what
give you
politics are.
I'll give you one. We've added jobs every month since he took office. Every single month we've added jobs. And that is, the unemployment rate was in the double digits. Now it's under 5%.
Hey.
Now, if you want a job, you could get a job, basically.
That's great.
Now, the jobs aren't as well paying as they should be.
Right.
Salaries haven't risen. I think the minimum wage has to go up. You can't have people working an hour to pay for the coffee and a buttered roll, for goodness sake.
Mm-hmm.
I would have. Maybe it's just that I'm prejudiced against Ivy, snobby people, because I never was that.
Right.
So I have a kind of an attitude against that.
Should tell your tie.
What am I going? I don't pay for these. I think that President Obama is responsible. I think it's great that we have a black president, and we've checked off that box in terms of America has to do this.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was ready for office, and I don't think he's been particularly successful in office. He's done some things that are okay, but
really, I thought he did pretty good.
Well, he did okay in the economy. I think. They hate when I say that. Sean hates when I say that, Hannity. But I think he's done okay domestically. But he could have been more of a racial activist. I think he could have been bringing us together, and he could have gone after that whole political correctness. He could have said, be more tolerant. He could have embraced, instead of saying Trayvon Martin looked like my son, he could have, he could have been out there more for everybody, for cops when cops are killed. Cops, an Irish cop, but he could say, he doesn't have to say he looks like my son, but he could just say this guy was working for me when he got killed.
Right.
I think he's done a bad job, and he lost the Middle East. I mean, that's something you got to.
What do you think he should have done differently in the Middle East?
Well, shouldn't have got rid of Gaddafi. Shouldn't have got rid of Mubarak. Shouldn't have got rid of Saddam Hussein. Or that was Bush. But, why are we messing with that? Let them go through their own political evolution. Look what we've done, what we've accomplished by taking on Assad in Syria. We've shaken loose. We've broken everything. Now we own all the pieces, just like Colin Powell said. Why didn't we just let them have their own? Why do we let Saudi Arabia be a totalitarian dictatorship with a king?
Absolutely.
Because they're giving us oil. And we take out Saddam Hussein in Iraq, same crap. With Mubarak in Egypt, totally destabilized Egypt. We lost Libya to ISIS because got rid of Gaddafi. Gaddafi had already surrendered all his nukes to us. Gaddafi was, playing along, so he was eccentric, and he was a despot to different tribes in his own country. Let them work that out. I mean, why do we have to? It was totally and the United States was, and Hillary Clinton bears responsibility for it also. Dragged in by the French. Come on, we got to do this Arab Spring democracy. You can't. The people have to. They have to find their own way. We have to stop. And Trump is so right about that. We have to let them find their own way. We'll find our own way. And look what happens when we've intervened. When has it worked out?
What do you think happened to college campuses? Like they're literally, Carlin said it, Chris Rock has said they're the most they're very censoring people now, and they used to not be that way.
What happened with college campuses is that the prevailing wisdom became so inviolate that nobody could contradict it. If you were not towing the politically correct line, then you were a racist, or you were a nativist, or a xenophobe, or a this or a that. It's gotten so bad on campuses now that you can't even say the word Hillary. If you say that you're for Hillary, you're like a racist douche. You use the expression douche, a right-winger, because everybody's Bernie.
Right.
If you're not Bernie
That's true.
on campus today, it doesn't, then you're totally out of it. It's like you're in the KKK.
Yeah, I got fired by my college agent, actually. I had a college agent. I was making a lot of money, and I said too many things, and they fired me.
They really,
Wow.
But
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem. I mean, that's as bad as the other side.
And it's so true because Chris Rock said I won't play colleges; they're too sensitive. Everybody's fine with it. Seinfeld, I won't. He said I won't do colleges. Everybody goes, "You're a racist." He's like, "I'm just saying what Chris Rock said," but because I'm a rich white guy, I'm an asshole.
I think that is really dangerous.
Yes.
That's part of the appeal Trump has. That people look at him and he cuts through the bullshit and he says, you know something, that's not going to stand in this country. This country is built on the exchange of ideas, people coming from every place. And I just think he's got to straighten out on some of these issues.
What do you think we were talking this morning too, like what do you think this hatred, like I'm not a big Hillary fan, but I don't hate her, but there's this vitriolic, people get into Hillary, they're like, fuck her. Like where is that, do you think, coming from?
I think that, she's kind of a sourpuss. And to guys, I probably get in trouble for saying this, I think that she reminds a lot of people of the ex-mother-in-law. And this is the problem with Hillary, and I could fix her whole problem right now. We're wearing headsets now.
Yes.
She should get an earpiece, the way rock guys get earpieces, so she listens to what she sounds like in the microphone, not when she addresses the crowd. Hey, everybody! Thank you very much, Cleveland, baby!
Yeah.
If she just said hi, thank you, everybody. To the that's all she needed.
Yes.
He needs to modulate.
Yeah.
It seems so simple.
Drives
that
me nuts.
And that's what drives you nuts, right?